Marco Leal is a UFO researcher who, along with James Fox, produced the powerful documentary Moment of Contact. The documentary shines a light on the shocking 1996 Varginha UFO incident. This interview is a fascinating deep dive exploration into a case of potential contact with a non-human intelligence. For a summary of the Varginha case, please see my conversation with James Fox. So Marco, to start us off, can you please tell me how you first became interested in the UFO phenomenon?
Oh, yes. Thanks, Ben, and thanks for the opportunity to speak with you. And
My pleasure.
I was interested about UFOs, I think, since I was a little kid,
Yeah.
Because here in Brazil, in back to the 90s, we had some global media, which was talking about UFOs on TV, and we had this special TV show every Friday night, and then also we had another one which was very popular on Sunday night, and they used to do really serious about the subject of the UFOs. They was talking very serious about it. So I had it like 10 years old, 9 years old, so I was interested about the UFO. So in 1996, when happened the Varginha case, I had it 11 years old. And when I saw it on the news, I was very shocked like by the media because I I felt that I want to know more, but they just gave us a little piece of the Varginha case, and they spoke about it the first time when the researchers, the older researchers, which started to investigate this case. So I knew about them, and I felt inside of me, I want to be with them, like I want to go there someday. So, okay, I stayed in my head with this, and I started to looking more into the subject, UFO subject. So I remember when I had then 14 years old, I was playing soccer with my friends, and we were coming back to home, and we saw like a strange thing, like a triangle in the sky, on the sky. My friends look it into and say, "Hey, look, what is that?" So I was like, "I don't know." And then it was like a triangle, and I remember he disappeared very fast. So I remember that day. The next day I went to the library, and to get some magazines about UFO. So I started to uh, to search about the subject, and then I had a group in my city to investigate some cases, UFO cases around my city. So that's when I started with like 16 years old to do my first research about UFOs. Like especially when some cases happen around me. So I used to go to the place and ask some questions and recorded some videos and testimony about the cases, and that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, wow. So you got interested young and you started investigating and researching quite young, like when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So firstly, I have to ask about that triangle. Like, how old were you, did you say, when you and your friends saw the triangle? And can you describe it in a little bit more detail, like what you saw and what that experience was like?
Yes. Was when I had a 14 years old, 14. And I remember we were walking on the street, and then my friend looked at it like this, was like kind of far away in the sky. And there's this triangle, like I don't know if he had some light, like in the median of it. And then he was like doing this movement, and I was like, what is that? My friend, I think, is some kind of airplane. He said, no, look it. And then he was floating, like no, he didn't change the movements, and he just
Yeah.
disappeared like very fast. And then
Yeah.
that I was like, "Whoa, did you guys see that?" And then they said, "Oh yes, like what the hell is that?" I was like, "I don't know." And then I said, "Oh, I saw some news about UFOs," like because I already like it, the subject. But
Yeah.
we were we not expected to see this thing. Like we were talking about other things like teenagers.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh my God. So I remember that night I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about the sighting. And
Yeah.
then I was very exciting for the next day to go on library and start to find some books and read more about the subject. So
Yeah.
I remember when I started reading about the UFO things, I was like, oh my God, there's so many cases, there's so many things that happened, and I was more impressive about the UFO. So I'm always was remember this sighting.
Yeah.
And then that's what oh my God. So this was the first time, and the object like was kind of dark,
Hmm.
and triangle.
Was it daytime or nighttime?
No, was in the end of the day, like was around 6, when the
Okay.
sun
Evening.
goes,
Yeah. Dusk.
the
Yeah.
evening, yeah, the dusk, yes, was that time. And I was like, oh my God, wasn't too in the daytime, but it was a night time. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't really remember like how high it was. I guess it's quite a long time ago.
yes, long time.
Um.
I remember that it was far away in the sky. Like when you
Yeah.
see the airplanes, the lights of airplanes. So I
Yeah.
remember it was very far away. We couldn't see a lot of details, but we saw that it was like a triangle,
Yeah.
and then maybe in the medium, it had some kind of light, like a
Yeah.
white
In the
light,
middle. Yeah.
you know.
And it was black, or was there a color, the triangle itself?
Yeah, it was kind of dark, when I don't, it wasn't too black, but it was,
Hmm.
was kind of dark. And I
Okay.
think the light was shining, I don't know, a little bit.
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
see this, so I got very impressive by
Wow.
sighting that time.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. And so that was a couple of years after Virginia,
Yeah, this
I
is
think.
was
Yeah.
3 or 4 years after, 3 years after Varginha,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Okay. And when Virginia took place, how far away were you living from that? Were you close or the other side of Brazil or?
Yes, I am living actually 4 hours and a half, actually 5 hours away from Varginha,
Hmm.
driving. So
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been so many times in Varginha, because I was very curious about it, the case, and I said, oh, I want to go investigate by myself,
Mm.
to know if everything they are saying is true, because it
Yeah.
was kind of maybe like, oh, this is too much, this story, I don't know if I believe. So
Yeah.
I remember I started to go to Varginha. My first time I went in 2004 when they
Okay.
had, when they had a big UFO congress, like with
Right.
all the researchers, and
Hmm.
our UFO magazine did this UFO Congress here, AJ
Hmm.
Guevara and Ubirajara Rodrigues, which was the first researcher to look into this case, because the Varginha case happened in January 20th, and Ubirajara Rodrigues, he started investigating on the January 21st, you
Hmm.
know
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
right there, and especially because he used to live like around the area where everything
Oh.
happened, like the girl sighting, because everything started with the girls sightings. And
Yeah.
it's good to say is that they never said that it was a alien or IT, because they didn't know what was this alien, the word. Say, so
Mm.
they thought that it was a devil. Oh
Yeah.
my God, this is a devil. So, and then I think
Yeah.
Birajara was, was like searching these informations, and he thought, this is look like a UFO case and extraterrestrial. So I think the ladies, the kids said, what is like, what do you mean like ET or extraterrestrial? So they didn't know about it, like the UFO.
Yeah.
So was really
Yeah.
interested, you know.
Wow. So you first visited in 2004, you said. So when did you first start trying to talk to witnesses in Varginha? And like in 2004, when you visited for the first time, what did you do? Did you just want to see the area itself, or did you visit all of the spots, and yeah, talk me through that. Talk me through when you started talking to witnesses and what your early trips were like, what you did.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I remember in 2004, I was there only to watch this. Was a weekend,
The
like
conference, yeah.
the conference. So I saw all the researchers, like famous kind of researchers here in Brazil, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe. So I learned more about the case there. And I remember I thought in my mind, I want to come back here in another time to start my investigation. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, I went back to my house, and then in 2006 I started to go to Varginha to investigate. So my first time when I speak with the first witness was in 2006,
Okay.
but it was
Yeah.
very little things, like because people, they didn't like to speak because they thought that oh, a lot of people is gonna make fun of me.
Mm.
People were kind of afraid to speak, but I found
Yeah.
some witness. It's not like directly involved, but people who knew other people, like
Mm-hmm.
other family member that participated in some part of the case, because we
Yeah.
say here we just have 40%, we just know 40% of everything which happens in Varginha. I don't know if you understand, like we know just 40% that all happen. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
we don't know anymore. Like 60%, we need to investigate more to know the
Yeah.
more things.
Yeah. So you're saying back then you knew 40% or now?
No, and right now we have 40% of
Okay,
every,
now you think we've got, yeah, 40, yeah.
yeah, 40, because there's a lot of things and a lot of other things that happened that we need to go through to
Mm-hmm.
investigate more, you know.
Yeah.
But this 40% is look like a puzzle, when you have a puzzle and you and
Yeah.
you building. So I got very interested and impressive about the witness testimony, So I
Mm-hmm.
keep it going to Varginha like almost around like four five five times in a year. In one year I went
Yeah.
4 or 5 times, and I stayed like for 4 days or 5 days, and
Mm-hmm.
then I recorded some interviews, or people didn't didn't wanna give the interview, but they gave me the information. So I was very interested. So I felt like, oh my God, this case is true. So I felt in my heart that I would like to searching more and show like everybody that I could show, like this new investigation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. Um, so since you first visited Varginha until now, how many, I know you're not going to have an exact number, you're probably going to have to guess a little bit. How many witnesses do you think you've spoken to personally, like overall?
Oh my God, like there's a lot of people. I think more than 60 or 60, around 60. But I
Wow.
actually, personally, like around 60 witness. But like to call, we have here on our files like more than 200 recordings about audios and some
Mm-hmm.
videos, you know. because in 2015 I had a help. I met another guy which calls my friend, partner, investigation friend is João Marcelo Marx Hills, and another one was Giordano Mazzucci, and we started to look into like more and more. So we went together to Varginha and we spoke with a lot of people. So we have one file with more than 200 archivals, you know, testimonies, people who doesn't want to come on camera, people who doesn't want to be public, you know. Uh, and but I think it was around 60 people we spoke with, and they agreed to share the information.
Yeah, that's amazing. Who do you think, like, are some of the, because you mentioned some people, they didn't want to come on camera, they wanted to stay anonymous. Like, which people or who do you think has the most compelling testimony that wants to stay anonymous? Like, what are we missing? You know, who is there anybody that you or somebody else has spoken to that, like Military X, for example, but somebody that has not even come forward as much as he has?
No, to be honest with you, like all these people that we spoke with, of course, a lot of more militaries, they didn't want to talk about it. They said, no, this has never happened. Oh, but we started to make other questions and they couldn't like answer the right way, you know, and say, oh, but why this has happened? Why the media said that he was there? And they were like, no, I don't want to talk about it, you know. So most of it, the people that we spoke with was militaries who participated in the mission, but they wanna come and talk. I think for me the most impressive was Military X because he was and he and his friend which didn't wanna come on camera and they say never call me again. So we tried to speak with him 1 month ago again, say, hey, please, let's do an encounter, like, please. And I said, no, delete me of this story. And we spoke, but you know, like we have the Military X, your friend, because Military X and the other militaries, they spoke for the first time in 1996. So they recorded an interview for the researchers back at the time, you know, like Ubirajara, Vittorio Pacatini, which was very, very important researcher because he used to live in, his mom used to live in Three Horts, which is Três Corações, which is the city that it is like 40 minutes from 30 to 40 minutes away from Varginha, and they had the biggest base, army base in the area. So so Pacatini, he used to live in Three Horts, and he knew some witness, and some witness trusted in him to speak for the first time. So Pacatini, the first person who he spoke with was a fireman, which was involved on the first capture, you know.
Yeah.
So he recorded on February 16th of 1996 the first audio of this fireman speak about the first capture in the January 20th around 10:30 in the morning, because some kids and people which live at the neighborhood, they saw this strange animal or creature like kind of far away, and then they called to the police station, say, hey, there's I don't know, there's some weird thing right here. So they called the firemen, and the firemen, they went the first first they went there, and they were looking to this area, because this area, I don't know how to explain, is like it's look like a big, there's a lot of grass, you know.
Mm-hmm.
How do I say, like
Like a meadow or something, like a
yes,
forest or just fields. I don't know exactly, but
yeah,
yeah,
it's kind of fields, like big,
yeah,
with like trees
yeah,
and a lot of grass,
and tall grass, I suppose, as well. Is it?
tall grass too, you know. And then so these people saw this strange creature. So the firemen, when they came, they had to go to this small forest and search
Mm-hmm.
there. So they found this creature, and the fireman said that he knew from his friend who captured that the creature was very I think afraid or was suffering, you know.
Mm.
And they had a net. Do you know net? And putting
Yeah, a net. Yeah,
a
yeah.
net, and then they put in a net and put in the box, and then the army truck was doing some circles around, and then the truck stopped it, and the fireman gave this box with the creature to the army. So before, they were hearing uh, like a noise, like a bee noise, like bzz, 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 you know, which came
Mm-hmm.
inside of this box. But this fireman didn't see the creature. He saw, because he was in the base before. And then when the firemen called them to the base, say, hey, please, you guys need to come over here. So him and his captain at the time, they drove
Mm-hmm.
into the small forest. And when they arrived there, they saw this box, but they couldn't see the creature, but they could heard the bee noise, like zzz, zzz,
Wow.
zzz, you know. And then the army took this box and they drove to the Three Horts base. Was in the morning. And then in the same day, on 3:30 in the afternoon, the girls saw the other creature. Like,
Mm.
and it's good to people know that the first capture was here, and the girls' field wasn't far away, was right here, like
Mm.
maybe 2 to 3 blocks, you know, the
Okay.
other field. And in the
Yeah.
documentary, I think James was very smart to show people by the drone, you know, because a lot of
Yeah.
people didn't know where everything happened there. And it was very close, every
Mm.
sightings.
Yeah, everything was real close. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. So the fireman that gave his statement and stuff, is he still alive? How come he wasn't in the documentary?
Yes, he's still alive, and me and my partner, we found him.
Mm-hmm.
He used to live. No, he is still living in Three Horts. But when we met him for the first time, he said, "No, this has never happened." I said, "Well, but we have your audio recorded. You know, when you hear, oh, okay, but it was all lying. I was lying at the time." I said, "Why would you lie?" Like, I said, "No, because," and he didn't want to speak. You know, no, no,
Yeah,
this is bullshit. You know, like this has never happened.
yeah,
I said, because right now we have this very good friend, like James Fox. He wants to come over here and do a serious job, like cover the case, but with very serious details. And other military, they probably is gonna agree to go on camera. So please, can you? I don't know, like, please, you can come to speak. And he was like, no, but I never, this has never happened. I said, oh, okay, just think about it, and then we will come back here. He said,
yeah.
okay. So we went. I remember we spoke with him, and then the next time was like probably 1 year or 1 year and a half late, like after we went
Yeah,
again to
later.
speak
Yeah.
with him, and say, no, I'm not going on camera. I don't want to participate this. And then we heard from the neighborhood, like the other person who knew about him, that he is really religious, evangelic, and he doesn't want to talk. He thought that was a devil too. He didn't tell us, but we knew about the neighbors of his neighbors. And he couldn't come, like he didn't come on camera. So but we used to have this we still have this record audio from January 16. And I remember
Yeah.
Pacatini, when he recorded the first audio, he was this military fireman. He was very nervous and he didn't want to talk, and Pacatini was trying to convince him to, no, please, please, you record for us. And then he told about the first capture. And then Birajara and the other researchers, they went to the fireman station and started the investigation. But of course, all the firemen said, no, didn't happen. They are covered up.
Yeah.
So actually, I had information about the other fireman. So we went to his house, we spoke with him, and he said, I say, can you confirm for us this mission happened on January 20th in the morning? And he said, I can't say that happened, and I can't say that it not happened. I said, what? So this guy didn't want to come to speak, but he didn't tell us too about the details of that morning. I don't know if you can understand me, my English. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I understand you. Yeah,
Yeah.
the second guy just didn't want to talk, but he didn't really give you any reasoning. He just
Yeah.
just was like, yeah, I don't want to say anything, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
And
Yeah.
one time I went by myself there. The last time I think was 1 month before James come. I went to his house and I spoke with him. And I said to him, okay, just I don't like, if you don't want to come on camera, please, sir, just tell me, because I am leaving. Like, I don't know if I'm wasting my time, like investigating this case. I'm open my heart for you. Please, just tell me, please. Jesus, you don't need to tell me the details. Just tell me if this has happened. And then he was like quiet for a moment, like quiet, and was thinking. And then he said, oh, I can't say for you, I can't say this is not happened, but I can't say this has happened. I was like, oh my God. So
Yeah.
I was very
Yeah.
upset actually at the
Yeah.
time. And I say, okay, I don't want to disturbing you. Think about it, and then I'm gonna call you another time. But I never called him again, because the other thing he told me, he had some issue with the army, that I didn't understand why the army, like, do you know when people say something and but you don't understand and you wanna them to say more and they didn't say,
Yeah.
there was a mystery for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
I guess. Sorry, you go. What were you going to
oh
say?
no, sorry, no, just
I was just going to say, I guess, yeah, somebody could be like that because of the years of sitting on that information and thinking about it. And, oh, I can't ever tell anybody this. And, like I have to keep it to myself. And yeah, I guess it would it would mess you up, right? Like some people would react differently. But
yeah,
yeah, that would be hard to process that kind of information. I don't think any of us, me nor you, like, I don't think any of us really know how we would know, like, react if all of that happened to us. Like if we'd been involved in that, I think it would change you,
exactly.
especially after the years of keeping the secret. Yeah, it's wild. Just a few other things in the stuff you were saying, like the buzzing from the being inside the box. Have you heard that, like, from other people as well? Like, is that a consistent theme, or was this the only time that people heard the buzzing?
No, that was the only time that we heard about the buzzing. Any other witness didn't talk about the buzzing.
Okay.
Only
Okay.
this fireman
Do you think maybe this is a silly question? Is it possible that a bee or a wasp got inside the box with him, or do you think, like, did they say it was a buzzing that was very different to a bee or a wasp? Like, did they give much more information?
Yes, they gave, because when he recorded, he was telling that the other friends who did the captured, they said the creature was doing this noise from probably his mouth. Bzz, 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 bzz. And then when they put it in the box, I think it started more, bzz, bzz, bzz. That's weird, but we just have this testimony tell about the buzzing. Yeah.
It's quite chilling in a way. I don't know if you understand chilling, but it's quite like I don't know. It gives me a weird feeling. It's like it's in distress or something. It's like it's distressed and uncomfortable. And obviously, I'm guessing and I'm anthropomorphizing, but it doesn't sit very nicely. And just to go back to Military X as well. So was it you that first kind of helped to get in touch with him? Like helped to get him into the documentary? Like when did you first get in touch with Military X, and how did you build that relationship? Because I remember in the documentary, James, he gives you a lot of credit, for making that happen. Like he says that without Marco taking time and patience to build this relationship, like this guy would never have come and done this with us. And obviously the testimony was incredible. So tell me about that and how you got to that position to make it happen.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Ben. So we knew about Military X and the other guy, which he is his friend, who saw the whole creature, at the hospital. But this guy that we called, he said, no, I don't wanna, delete me from this story. And, don't call me anymore. I said, okay, because Military X friend, he saw the whole creature. And Military X, he saw only from, I think here, like from the
waist.
Yeah, the legs and the foot, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then we already knew about these militaries because Birajara and Marco Petit, which was another researcher, they trusted us and they showed us the testimony, because these videos, they never turned public. They never turned it public, this video. So because they had a deal in 1996, Military X and the other militaries, they was very afraid. They were afraid because one, his friend said, they follow me. They are following me. Like when I get out of the base, somebody's following me, because the other military was, they suspicious that they had the suspicious that some military was talking more, talking out, like information. So they were afraid about the captain, the general. So when he met Pacatini, Military X, and the other researcher, he trusted and say, okay, I'm gonna recording my testimony for you. So only if something happened with me or my family, you guys come and release my testimony. But if nothing happened with me, please, you never turn public my testimony. And his and the other friends too. And okay, the researcher said, okay, we do this deal. So that's why this never came out, because nothing happened with the families and with him. But they got a very big pressure, like from the base.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. Yeah.
And then okay, so we knew about this, and one of my dreams was watching this testimony, which everybody was talking about, and they never released. So when we watched it, we knew more, all the information, and then my friend John and Giordano, they are very good to find people. They have access and some system. So we knew about his name, and we were like hard time, like searching. So John, I think he found, and Giordano, he found his phone number. So we called him Military X for the first time, And he was very like, what? How did you get my phone? Say, oh, please, we are a researcher, and you did a record, you recorded a testimony in 1996 for Pacatini. We are in Ubirajara, and we are friends of them. So please, can you talk to us? Say no, I don't want to talk anymore about it. And and then actually he was making the questions, like a lot of questions
Yeah.
on the phone. And I was like, we were no, you can just trust us. You can go on internet and look it up to our names. You're gonna see that we never gonna expose you. You just wanna information. We are very curious to know what happened after, like if you know more information. But he didn't want to talk, like, at all. He didn't want to talk. So this was the first calling. And then we was keeping calling him like every month. And then
Hmm.
I remember one day I was working here, and my friend John, he called Military X, and Military X, he he already knew us, and he was speaking a little bit more, talking a little bit more, but I know about the case, just getting more friendly.
Hmm.
Then I remember my friend called me, say, hey, Military X, it is in Campinas right now. Campinas, it is a city 1 hour from here driving. And then I said,
Yeah.
oh, John, please tell him, if he agrees, I'm driving there right now. I want to meet with him personally. And then okay, John was speak with Military X, said, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna meet him. I'm afraid. So we were trying to convince him to meet with me. So okay, he said, oh, okay, okay, I'm gonna meet with Marco. And I remember I drove to that place because Military X, he's not military anymore. He's
Hmm.
retired, and
Yeah.
he works for another company now. And so I remember I went in front of his company. So he told John, say, oh, tell Marco I'm gonna be with my friends, like, but when he arrived, like when he arrived with the car, don't say Marco to get out. I'm going to speak with him. I said, okay,
Hmm.
no problem. So I remember I stopped in my car, and Military X, I already saw him, and I couldn't believe because I saw him for the first time on camera in
Hmm.
1996. And then when I look to him, I said, "Oh my God, is him?" I recognized it that it was him. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, I can't believe it." And then he came, "Hey, how are you?" I said, "How are you? I'm good." And you? I said, "Oh, I'm good." He was in my window. He said, "Oh, go right there. Can you see that tree right there?" I said, "Yes." But it was dark, was at night. And then he said, "Okay, you stopped like by that tree, and then I'm going to talk to you there." I said, okay. And I remember I drove there, and I stopped the car. When I turned off the lights, oh my God, it was all dark. I couldn't
Mm.
see if the guy was right here. I couldn't see his face, because it
Wow.
was all dark. And then I remember Military X came, and then he said, "Oh, please, okay, now you can come out, but let your phone, all the equipment you have, technology, you leave in the car." And I was like, "Okay, no problem." So I got out of the car, and then he started to make some questions for me. So we spoke for about 1 hour, and he didn't want to talk about the case, but he was more asking me questions. So who you
Uh-huh.
are, where you live, why you are interested about this case. And I was like, oh, you can trust me, please. I'm just curious about this case. And I was a little kid when this has happened. So I watched your testimony because Birajara, and Pacatini told us and showed us the footage. He said, "Oh, okay, okay." For the first time, we just spoke it, like, but we never spoke. we never talked about the Varginha case, just a little
About the
thing,
case, yeah.
you know. And then he said, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna see if I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna think, and then maybe we can make another meeting." I said, "Oh, okay, please. Thanks so much, Military X. Thanks so much." You know. So was, I think, 10 months before he agreed to meet with us again. So the
Yeah.
second
Wow.
time was me and my partner John. So you went
Yeah.
with him, and he was more friendly. And then we
Uh-huh.
stayed for about 2 hours in a bakery, like in a spot, like in a bakery, like a lot of people. But we were
Yeah.
in another table, and he we spoke about it. But he didn't want to tell all the details that
Mm-hmm.
he did in 1996, you know. So we would love to hear his he's talking about the first, like the first time, but he didn't say the details. He was more like, oh, this has happened, somebody was involved, this other guy was involved, I was there. He gave us some details, but not
Yeah.
no. So okay, and then in the end, I remember I was driving him to his brother's house, and he said, I said, please, James Fox is coming here. We are about to do a documentary, very serious about it, and we would love to have you on camera. We don't gonna expose you, you know. And he said, no, no, it's better not, dude. No, I'm sorry, but this is was very prescient for me. I don't want to talk anymore about it. So okay, I was very upset too. So okay, we used to had a contact by phone and WhatsApp. I used to talk to him, and I remember James came to Brazil, and then we started shooting the documentary with like all the other witness. And then I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, man. And then I told James, I said, hey, I have one guy here. He was the military, which was there in 1996. So I told James everything. James, oh my God, we need to get this guy. We need to get. I say, okay, but
Yeah.
he doesn't want to go, even if we offer money. Like you can offer money because we already tried this way too. Say, okay, you can make a lot of money. Please just tell us. Like, I know it's not the right thing to do, but we were like very excited, and I said, no, no, I'm
You were
so
desperate.
sorry. Yeah, I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God. So I remember one night, I think we had 1 week already, like we shoot it for a week, and then I remember I called Military X with like James, and we were in Varginha, and but Military X lives in a city which is 3 hours and a half driving from Varginha, and then Military X say, "Oh," I said, "Oh, please, James Fox is here. Please, can we just have one conversation? Just one conversation." He said, "No, no, man, I don't think so." I said, "Please, please." So I was convincing, and I said, "Okay, I'm gonna think about it." So next day we called again, and he said, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna meet you guys. You can come right here." I said, "Yes, right now. Like anytime you say, we go." And then he said, "Okay." So me and James, I remember he canceled all the schedule for that day, and then we
Yeah.
drove 3 hours and a half to meet Military X. So when we got in a gas station, and then he was there with another friend. And then when me and James arrived, I remember we went to a toilet, and then we came back, and then Military X said, okay, let's go to another place. I said, what? No, let's go to another place to speak, to have a conversation. I said, okay. And then we got in the car and we drove to another place. It was kind of a little bar. So me, James, Military X, and his friend, we we spoke like for 2 hours too. Like me and James, I was translating to James, and
Yeah.
Military X. I think he liked James because James is a very special guy. I like he's
Yeah.
very,
He's very warm and charismatic. Yeah.
yeah, and he's like he do it with his heart. And that's, I
Yeah.
think this is makes a lot of difference. And military acts, okay, I'm gonna think about it. And James, please, you need to come on camera. I know you don't want any money. Like, I don't know. I know just because the world need to know. We are going to show this story for many people as we can. As he said, oh, okay, I'm gonna think about it. So I remember the next day, like we were like, please, did you decide? He said, no, man, I don't think so. So so I was like very stressful, right?
Yeah,
And then we
yeah,
had the schedule. So I remember James was like, no, man, please tell him right now. If he if he's not going right now, he's never gonna do anymore. And maybe I don't know, some other military can know about it, and and then and then I remember I said, "Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know where to do. I can do, but I don't know where." And then I said to Military X, "No, if you agree, we are we are cancel all the schedule for this day, and then we are going to drive there right now, like with a small crew, because Military X he was very worried about it too, with the equipment, very little people, like very no camera, very little, like one camera probably. And
yeah,
I said,
yeah,
okay, don't worry about it, please. We are going to with like a small crew, and then we can rent a hotel room, like, and then you're not going to be exposed. And then I said, oh my god. I said, please, I am driving, okay, I'm right now, I'm going. I said, oh man, I don't know. I said, please, man, please. I said, oh, okay. And then I will let you know the details, like in 1 hour. So we got everybody in the car, like the camera crew, only the audio guy and the David West, the camera, and me and James and Alessi was with me. And then we drove. So when you see the document, when you guys watch it, the documentary, when James is in the car and me too, that was
yeah,
right there. We were very excited because do you know when it happens right there, and I was like, let's go then. And then I remember I was driving and we stopped it on the tool
yeah,
and
yeah. I remember this.
came
Yeah,
and say, oh, and then I say, probably before I said, oh, let's rent a hotel room around his city. I said, oh, okay. So I remember we were driving and then we stopped it on the gas station. So we didn't know what hotel. So I remember, I think I asked it from the gas station worker. He said, I said, hey, do you guys have a hotel around here? Like, and then say, oh, there's a hotel by the road right there. And I said, oh, okay. So I called again Military X and I said, oh, it's gonna be in that hotel. Do you know this hotel? And then military, oh, I know, but I'm afraid. I said, don't worry about it, please. We are going to arrive first, and then you come. Like I remember very like we were, and then we drove to the hotel first, like 10 minutes probably before Military X arrived. And I remember I went to the reception, asked for a room, and he said, oh, okay, here's the key. And then we went to the room, and the room was very small, like all. I
yeah,
was like, oh my god. And I went back to the reception, say, please, don't you guys have a big room, a bigger? He said, no, I'm sorry, it's all the same, but actually I have one room that is the same size, but you can open a door which connects another room. I said, oh,
uh-huh.
okay. And then I told James, yes, this one. Okay, and then we got this one, another one. And then I remember we went up, and then we got the toilet, the toils, what do you call it? Do you know oh my God, I forgot the name in English. Like when you,
The ons.
when you go to shower, get out of the shower and
Oh, towel,
a towel. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, a towel. And
towels.
we got
Yeah,
some towels. We brought, like, I remember Dave, the camera guy. He went there and put in the towels covering like the camera. and we didn't
Yeah.
get the tripod. I'm like, oh my God. And Military X came, and then I met him on the parking lot, and I said, oh, you go to the like the number of the room, like 111, 111. I said, oh, okay. And then he went by himself first. He knocked at the door, we opened it, and Military X came inside. So that's what happened, was very, I mean, this has happened that time, everything, we didn't prepare.
Yeah.
We didn't prepare. And then Military X was like, oh my God. And so that was really interesting story. Do you know the head that he had, the military head? So
Yeah.
he didn't have any head. So uh, David, the guy, the camera guy, he was on the military head that at the time, because his son is from, I think, Navy.
Right.
David son is from Navy, and then he had this head. So Military X, oh my God, I need a head. And then I said, oh, can you please land your 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 head? And yes. And then he put it ahead like a military. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy, because even the head we didn't prepare, and then it was
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
there. So, and then we started to record his testimony, and I was very curious to know if he's gonna say the same thing that he said in
Hmm.
1996. Dude, this was incredible for me. I had a goosebumps, like goosebumps, because he
Yeah.
was telling this almost the same story, the same testimony that he had 26 years ago.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God. Of course, he didn't give all the details, but
Yeah.
he did almost, all of them. I was like, oh my God, it was incredible, like,
Yeah.
that's what for me was, I think, one's the best part and my favorite, actually, on the whole documentary. Of course, the X-rays guy too, and the other military, and I'm very grateful for them to trust us, and shared the
Yeah.
his informations.
Yeah, man. Incredible. Like incredible, and like well done to you as well for helping that happen, because if it wasn't for you, it seems like maybe we would never really have heard
Yeah,
his testimony,
yeah, but
which was incredible.
James was the guy too, because he convinced the military X at the time. I remember that when we spoke for 2 hours, and James was
Yeah.
very like with his heart, and I think military X said, "Oh, this is a nice guy,"
Yeah.
And
I bet James was on fire
yes,
on that day.
exactly. And I was very happy, and I was like, "Oh my God, thanks, James. This is."
Yeah.
I was waiting for this moment for many years, and my partner John and Giordano too, because
Yeah.
we were kind of worried about it. Said, oh, maybe this guy. I don't know if they lied at the time. Why they would lie, But when he spoke for the first time after 26 years and said the
Hmm.
same testimony, was incredible.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So when we're watching the documentary, we see the back of his head, obviously, and we see kind of you and James sitting on the bed facing him. Um, Obviously, only you and James sat there and saw his face as he told you the story. So James has kind of mentioned a bit about this, like what he felt when he was looking at the sky, but how did that feel for you? What did you feel? What did you interpret from his face, from his eyes, from his mouth? Like, his facial expressions. How did that match up to what he was saying?
Oh my God, was incredible. I'll never forget the expression, like in the face, What he was telling, but because I already knew the full testimony of 1996, because I watched it so many times, so I know all the words that he said in like 30 minutes,
Mm.
And then when he
Yeah.
started to speak again and tell and doing the expression on his face, for me was incredible. I had a goosebumps, you guys call.
Yeah. Yeah, goosebumps, goose pimples. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I was like, that's incredible for me, you know. And
yeah,
James, of course, James is very smart because even he doesn't speak Portuguese, but it's unbelievable how he's pay attention in the words, and like he's
yeah,
trying to understand what a military ex was saying. And actually he was right sometimes, you know, like yes, yes, you know, like yes, he did, because James, he was guessing, but he was guessing right, you know. There's some words
yeah,
that a military ex was telling, and it was
yeah,
like amazing. After that, like after the interview, we had our shoulder was like the heaviest, you know, like oh my God. So that's what
yeah,
we needed for the documentary, you know, one military which participated of transportation, and he was one of the best witness as the researchers had at the time, you know, because
yeah,
he gave the names. Of course, on the documentary, he didn't give because he said, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna do the interview, but I'm not going to say again the names of the other military who was with me or who was there in the
yeah,
hospital." But in the 1996, he said on camera the name of everybody who was there and who could kill him, you know, the military who
yeah,
could
yeah,
kill him or his family. And
yeah,
so we called, actually, like in 3 years ago, we called all those militaries. We found the address, the phone number, so we called all, and of course all of them said no, this has never happened, and no, some ones didn't want to ask answer the questions. And I remember one time we called a captain, Captain Ramirez captain,
mhm,
and then my John called, said, please, Ramirez. He said, no, this is not Ramirez phone. And then, oh, sorry. And then, like 10 minutes later, my other friend Giordano called, say, "Oh, please, I would like to speak with Ramirez," because the area code was different. The Giordano's area code was different, and he
mm,
said, "Oh, I am Ramirez." You know, so how they knew that we're gonna call them.
mm,
Did you understand? Like we called first. He
yeah,
said, "No, I'm not. This is not Hamid's phone number." And the other guy called and said, "Oh yes, I'm Hamid's." You know, like
yeah,
how they knew. So
yeah.
it's incredible. Like
And and I suppose you think they were threatened by people, by their superiors, and by government or military to keep quiet and to not say anything.
yes, that's what and then they are captain. They are very straight, military straight. You know, like they
Hmm.
are very like they,
Yeah,
they
die hard.
yes.
Yeah, I get it. Wow, that's incredible, man. I mean, thank you for sharing that story because yeah, I mean, as we said, Military X was probably the most compelling, the most fascinating bit of testimony in the documentary. I think, at least arguably, and I think as a viewer, like I had some goosebumps, some goose pimples watching it. So I can only imagine for you after putting in the years of work and everything to get to this point and having a relationship with him and wow, like it just must have been incredible for you. A career highlight. I think you'll probably look back on that in many years.
Yeah.
Let's change direction a little bit, and maybe you can tell me how you first ended up meeting James Fox, how you first met James, and how you ended up being involved in this documentary, what your role was in making this documentary, what you did with James.
Oh,
So yeah, if you could tell that, that'd be great.
yeah, that's great. Yes, it was a very happy time for me because I remember it was in 2011. We had a
Hmm.
conference in a city here which calls Peruíbe. It's on the beach, and James was a guest. He was invited to come to this conference, you know, and talk about his movies and everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So I met James at the time at the conference, and I loved James for the first time. You know, he was a really nice guy, and we were starting a relationship right there, like speaking. And he was with Rebecca, his wife, too. So cool. And then we started to speak a little bit about Varginha at the time because James didn't believe like on the
Mm.
Varginha case, you know, he, it's too bizarre the case to be true,
Yeah.
you know. And then I remember they had it a weekend in Peruíbe. So I remember James was asking me, say, "Oh, do you know one place that you can tell us to go after here because we're gonna spend one more week in Brazil. So we would love to go in somewhere else, some place, nice place." I said, "Oh yes." And then I remember I told him about Paraty, which is a city here in Rio de Janeiro. It's very beautiful, like islands, beautiful place, you know, paradise place. And then I said, we can go there. Like, I can drive you guys because I was worried a little bit about it because James he told me he's gonna rent a car and drive it there, but he didn't speak Portuguese, you know. He didn't know the road, so I was worried about it. Said I can take off one week of my work, can take it off, and I can take you guys there. I said, "Oh my God, really? Oh, thanks." And then we spent a week in Paraty, so was when we had a more time to speak about Varginha
Mm.
case. And I told him, he was like listening, and he was like, "Oh, that's interesting." So I remember he said, "Marco, if in 1 year, this was in 2011, he said, in 1 year, if I come here with a production uh, company to shoot some audio visual project, would you find the witness, like Varginha witness,
Yeah.
to go on camera?" I said, "Oh, James, I don't know because the girls they don't speak anymore. You know, on cameras they very hard to get them, but I will try." So I remember I said, "Oh, okay." And then he said, "Probably in 1 year I'm gonna come back here to do something here, like to shoot with them." I said, "Oh, okay." I was very happy, and I remember at the between this year I went to Varginha, I think 2 to 3 times, but it was
Hmm.
very hard to convince the girls, very hard. And we didn't have all the witness. I was very,
Mm.
very poor, you know, like what we just had the girls and the couple which saw the UFO, the sighting, UFO sighting. Remember from the
Yeah.
movie?
On the farm.
Yeah, on the farm, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so James, he said, "Oh, I'm going. I am coming." I said, "What? Are you coming to Brazil?" "Yes, with a National Geographic show," which he didn't like it. And then he came for the first time for doing this episode. So we shoot with a lot. We had a hard time to convince the girls. So when you see this episode of chasing UFOs from National Geographic, Katia,
Hmm.
she was on the field, and she told us, "This is my first time come back to the field since long time." She said, "I think in 10 years I never came here before because this is bringing me bad feelings, you know." I said, "Oh, okay, Katya, but it's gonna be very important to be on the interview." So like if you see the interview, Katya didn't say one word, only the other girls, because she was very afraid to be at the field again. And she was like
Mm.
looking like very, very nervous. And one time she stopped the interview and started to cry, like she was shaking hands. And she got
Mm.
out of the field. And I remember I went out to speak with her. "Hey, come down, come down. Was a long time ago. We are here with you. You know, try to help her there." And then she got more relaxed and she came back to the field. So we shoot that moment. And then that was my first work with James, but it wasn't good, you know, because we just had the girls. I think that's it. And then the couple, yes, I think we had it. So I know that James didn't like the show, so they shoot 13 episodes, and then was in 2012, and then in 2013 he was starting a project which calls the 701 movie. The 701
Hmm.
was actually after turning on the phenomenon, but the beginning was the 701. And then James said, I'm going to start my own production and I'm going to come to Brazil again next year. And then we can shoot whatever we wanted, with like my job, like my way to do. I said, oh, that's nice. So he came,
Yeah.
we went to Varginha. And do you know when you saw the documentary, the interview with the girls, they were sitting like the mother was telling about the man in black. I don't know if you
Hmm.
remember
Yeah.
that they were
Yeah.
sitting. That was in 2013, the first time when
Right.
James started the 701. So we
Hmm.
used that interview because it was better. And then, but we didn't have many people. We found Marta, uh, Cherie's sister, and the couple. So we just had three. And then I found the doctor Cesario, which was the doctor who did the treatments in the procedure on Marco Cherisi. And then
Yeah.
we started to shoot this. And then James had the other cases. So the 701, they're supposed to be Varginha, Zimbabwe case, Lenny Zamora from New Mexico,
Yeah.
and Kenneth Arnold. Only four. And then, but the years, and then the past the years, we used to, me and my partners, uh, keep, we keep going to Varginha. We went to Varginha so many times, so we got all the new witness and convince other witness to be part of it, like in some project. But in my mind, I thought that James would put the interviews on the phenomenon because the 701 turned the phenomenon. And then when
Yeah.
I remember James, oh sorry buddy, but we're not gonna use the Varginha in this movie. I was very upset. Oh, really, man? Oh, and then said, but if the phenomenon goes well, we can do one only for Varginha because he knew already about a lot of information that he wanna go through more.
Yeah.
And then he did the phenomenon, was very good. And then I remember he
Yeah.
called me in 2021 and he said, hey, let's do, now we are going to do. I said, oh my God, I can't believe he said, we are going to do a one documentary only about Varginha. I said, oh, that's what we need, man. There's a lot of things to show. And then he
Yeah.
came and then we shooted about 3 weeks the whole. Now I did all the schedules with the witness, but some ones we had to convince right there, because they, I don't want to come, I don't want to come. And the other guy, which I loved on the documentary, was very
Carlos.
Carlos was a military X-ray guy
Oh, okay.
at
Got
the
you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
X-rays, and the family too, which saw the
Yeah.
UFO.
The doctors.
Yeah, the doctors was incredible for me
Yeah.
because they didn't want to go on camera. When I called
Yeah.
them, say, "Hey, sir, can we go there?" Yes, but I'm just going to talk with you guys. Like, said, okay. So we drove into the house. So you guys can see on the because David was filming, and then I opened the
Yeah.
door and he came out and said, "Oh, please, can you give an interview on camera?" I said, "No, no camera, no, I don't want a camera right here. I'm just." I'm just gonna speak with you. Tell what we leave it. Say no, please. And then James was like, okay, or we can
Yeah.
the back, or.
We'll do anything. We'll block their face. We'll
Yeah,
blur them. We'll film from behind. Like anything. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember James, and then they say, oh, okay, okay. So you went to uh, his house, and when he started, tell us.
the story, I was impacted by his expressions, face,
Mm-hmm.
and the lady, his wife, and his daughter. I was like, and the three was they were exciting speaking, and I remember we had to stop a little bit the interview because they were speaking together, very excited.
Yeah.
She was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
and then when I saw the guy, like, I'm no doubt that he lived that moment, and especially these 2 blocks only from the field, the girls sighting, and he was like, I saw the UFO, I couldn't see, it wasn't a light, it was a UFO over here, like it was look like he was searching for something here, you know and then match
Yeah.
this testimony matches with other ones that we had it on the on the streets. Remember the
Mm-hmm.
streets when you have a sightings, this
Yeah.
and then so was the same day the shooting. So I remember when we were in the downtown doing that I remember people come and witness who saw the UFO. So they already told us about the same, was look like the same as the doctor saw, and they
Wow.
don't know
Yeah.
each other, the guy who was with his mom too and saw this UFO, like,
Yeah.
with no noise. It was incredible. And of course, Carlos go back to the sighting after 26 years. Carlos de Souza,
Yeah.
and he got a very emotional because one time that James kind of worried about it because when we got to the field, Carlos didn't recognize it,
Yeah. Yeah.
there, and I was like, oh my god! But I knew where he point, like in 1996. But I said I'm not gonna tell him because I don't wanna.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
just let him. And then he said, oh, I don't, he's not here. And then when they spoke about the house, the White House, I already saw the White House. I thought, and then I said, but I didn't want to tell, into when James, no, but there's a house right there. So yeah, there's a house, White House. And then, okay, let's go there then, because that moment we were walking the field, walking, and Carlos, oh, I don't know if it was here, I don't know, but and then was the
Yeah.
moment when he found, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. That was incredible.
Yeah, I was very excited because he never came. He told us that the last time he went was in 1996. That,
Yeah.
you know.
And you said you knew where it was already. So did he took to the exact same place?
Yeah, around, kind of, yeah, very near that area right there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And obviously it's a lot of years and it's just
a
yeah,
lot of
field. So it's
years, and
yeah.
if it was created, like he was, no, it was here, like right in the beginning, But
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
took some while to find, like, to him find the right place because he remembered
Yeah.
the house, and
Yeah.
but it was incredible, like, that they, and I remember James was a little stressful, I think, because he didn't think, I think it's not here, I think it's not here. He said, I knew that it was there because we had one footage, the old footage from 1996, and I used to go to Maiolini Farm a lot of times, and then we knew, oh, it's right here because the oldest footage he showed the place, but
Yeah.
little people saw this footage, like, but was very interested for the documentary too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that scene at the site of the crash with Carlos was so powerful. Like the emotion that came through, like just for me as a viewer, was really intense. Like it just felt so raw coming from Carlos. How did that feel for you being there with him? Like, because you're kind of you're with him, you're walking around, and all of a sudden he starts to get faster, and aki,
Yeah.
and you see just his eyes and everything. For me, like it was very intense. So yeah, what was it like to be there? What was it like to be around him on that day?
Was incredible because was a quiet moment, when aqui, and then we run back like down, and then I remember he was like putting his hand on the ground, and it was a quiet moment, like nobody, quiet, like for maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and he was like, started crying. And I remember David West, he used to do a lot of Hollywood uh, shooting, like he worked it. And he said, I never saw like, he's a very good actor. If he's lying, he's a very good actor because he already did with the Hollywood actors, and he was the same right there, crying. He was feeling that moment, and then was very quiet. And for actually that day I wasn't good because I had a headache because it was very hot, very. uh, and then, but I was like, in that moment, I was like, oh my God, there's no doubt that it's right here, and this is something happened, and he saw here something really weird, and it was confirmed. Even here in Brazil, a lot of people doesn't trust Carlos. There's a lot of people who's speaking, oh, this guy is a liar, because he changed it a little bit, blah 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 blah. But when you are there with him and know like everything he go through with his family, he went through with his family, like depression too, and was really incredible to see that moment,
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, I mean, if he was acting, if he was lying, if that was not real, like wow, yeah, he should be in Hollywood right now because it was so raw and emotional. How did you get in touch with him? Was that you as well that helped to bring him into the situation, into the documentary?
Yes, I remember 2013. James was already looking to Carlos. He said to me, "You really need to find Carlos." I said, "But he's gone. He's disappeared." He said, "No, you really need it." So we were working on to try to find him. So my another friend is good because we have a very good partners here, researchers, and we are all working kind of together. And then I remember my friend Paulo Pilon, who is a very nice guy engineer, and he found the address because we had some information, so we gave to him, and he was looking, and he found the address of Carlos. And then with the address, we found his phone number. And then I called him for the first time, and he said, "Wow, this was a long time ago. How did you get my phone?" I was like, "No, we are researchers, and then we would love to meet you for a conversation. Can you do for us?" I said, "Okay, okay, I'm gonna meet with you guys." And I remember we did a meeting and we spoke for the first time, and he was very nice. He was telling the same story, and how this is in fact his life after. And then I said to him about some project that James Fox would love to do a documentary about it, and if he's agreed to be, he said, "Oh, I think yes, now I am. I can speak again." He said, because, and then he told me that some weeks before I meet him, he said some member of his family was making fun of him in front of other members of his family, and he got a pissed off, said, he was, one day I'm gonna prove this is real, and let's change the conversation. I don't want to talk about this. So he told me 3 weeks after I called him, and then I think he said he agreed to go on camera too, to show to the families that he wasn't bullshit him, them, was lying. So it was very nice.
Wow. I feel like that was part of what the tears were as well. When he broke down crying, I think it was partly like, redemption for him. It was like proving even to himself in a little way that like, this did really happen. And like, I knew I was right and everything like that.
Yes.
Cause I bet he doubted himself through the years and questioned himself and, yeah, it would just be so difficult. Another major kind of, wasn't a major part in the documentary, unfortunately, but somebody that would have been a major part of the documentary, Eric Lopes.
Yeah.
Again, do you like, have you ever spoken with Eric face to face apart from what was in the documentary? Do you have any kind of friends in common with him? What's the story there? Yeah.
Oh, then good. Yeah, the only guys who had a face-to-face with him was the older researchers, the Birajara Rodrigues and Vittorio Pacatini, with Cherise's sister. Because Eric Lopes, he was a friend, he was Marco Cherise's friend since they were little kids. And then they got into the police together, And so we knew, of course, about Eric Lopes. So also, after many years, we heard that he doesn't like to speak about this case ever. And then we heard that he got nervous when he's gonna talk about this. And then I remember I was trying to find him, so I found his wife, and then I went to speak with his wife with another friend. And she was very kind of pissed off. Like she was like, "Oh, why you guys keep doing the connection with the alien and my husband and my brother? Because it's a crazy story. Like Eric Lopes' wife, it is one sister of Cherise's too, And
so Eric Lopez's wife she's the sister of Marco Cherise's wife. So okay, so they were brothers-in-law as well, yeah.
And Marta, which is her sister I don't know if it was, they were sisters, I don't know if by father or by mother,
right.
What it is not the same parents, but I think the same dad is Marta's and the same dad is Eric Lopes' wife, And she was very pissed off with me because we were connecting like Cherise and Eric Lopes on this story. So please leave us alone. He doesn't want to talk about it. So we already knew about his position about. And when I told James, James was always trying to speak with Eric because Marta was telling that Eric Lopes knew more. And she told us that back to the 1997, he was with Birajara and Pacatini, and one time Eric Lopes was in her house, and they were, hey, please tell me what happened that night, please, just you know more. And Marta told us that he was like smoke a cigarette, very nervous, like once, like doing, and no, I don't know anything, I know nothing happened, and he got very nervous and he went out of the house, and he never spoke about it. So James would love to talk with Eric. And then when we went to interview the mayor knew some other people who could help us to go on Eric Lopes' house. And Romulo, very nice guy, Romulo, and his father is a sergeant of the police station at the time, and he said, "Oh, I know where Eric Lopes he lives, but I'm gonna drive you guys there." But I told James, I think it's not a good idea. Go right there. He said, "Why?" I said, "I don't know, man. I don't agree to go right there. I said, "No, but it is the last chance. Like I don't have it is the last option. You guys already tried to talk with him. He didn't want it. Other people was trying to speak with him, nothing. I need to do." And then I said, "Oh, okay." So you said on the movie I stay in the car. The moment I was with James there, because I knew already he got very pissed off about it, and probably he already saw me on the news here speak a little bit about him, was kind of, afraid a little bit of Eric.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let's go there, but I'm gonna stay in the car. And then, and then, and then you guys watched what happened. He went there, and the really interesting thing was before Romulo introduced James, he said, "Hey, there's American guys right here." And Eric said, if it is about the alien story, you guys live here right now because you guys gonna have trouble. You guys gonna get in trouble with me. I was like, and then happened all this. I was like, oh my God. And then I remember James said, but what's the worst thing you think he can do with us? I said, I don't know, man, Trented, you know, shoot. Oh, really? Yes. But James tried anyway, and he then I wasn't I said, I wasn't worried about it, but James had a courage to go there and at the moment. And actually after that, when I was with James in the United States, he was editing the documentary. We called again his sister, his wife, and I remember my partner John was here in Brazil. He called and she said, "No, oh please, I'm so sorry that we went to your house, your husband's house. That time." And so we were trying to explain her and said, "Please, there's any chance to Eric Lopes come right now?" He said, "No, he's will never come." She said to me, even with me, he doesn't speak about the case, especially with you guys. And then he said, he just going to speak with you guys only if you guys can promise or that you guys can bring my brother back, Cherise. I was like, oh my God, okay, I'm sorry. And then we never spoke anymore with them. So I was there 20 days ago. We stayed for 22 days in Varginha right now, me and John, and we went again to his street, his house, right? And we found out right now that the name of the street, it is Marco Elisherizi, the name of the street of where he lives. And then I said, why they put the name of Marco Cherizi right here? This is another interesting thing that it makes thinking about it. Why, And then they gave the name of the street of Marco Elisheriz. I have the picture. I will send to you after.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll put it on the screen if we can.
Yes.
So Eric Lopes lives on Marco Ceresi Street, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's wild, man. That's wild. Yeah, that is crazy. So you mentioned earlier about the doctors that saw, or the doctor, the family that saw the UFO hovering around where the girls saw it. What did you make of that? What did you think of that? How do you explain that? Do you have you thought about it much? That have you put it all together? This UFO hovering there.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what was going on there?
Yes, that was, for me personally, was very important because everybody is saying, "Oh, we have the creatures, but we don't have too much sightings of UFOs around." So these creatures came from UFO, so we didn't know exactly what was this creature. So I remember when I met with the family, and the family was telling that it was hovering and looking for something. For me, I remember they didn't remember the date, which day was in January, but they remember that it was in January in 1996. So for me, it was basically the UFO was searching for the creatures right there to help, because we already had another sightings of the creature in the zoo of the city. Unfortunately, this part wasn't in the movie, like the whole documentary, but you have the extra videos which we interviewed the veterinarian who did the.
If you buy it from Vimeo or iTunes, I think.
Yes,
right?
you have the extras, right? Yes, Apple, I think too. And then because I remember the people was saying that this UFO was like a lot of people saw, looks like they were looking for something, and it was low. They couldn't see the like the shape of the fly saucer, and I don't know if it was a fly saucer, but a UFO, and then was over in there, and this is matches with some story about the zoo, because the old lady, she saw the creature on April 21st of 1996 in the zoo, and but when she saw the creature, was the type was look like the girl saw, like big eyes, red eyes, brown skin, like with the veins, like and oil. But this one had a look like how do you guys say Hamlet? A yellow Hamlet, like
a helmet.
Helmet. Yeah, sorry, my English. Yeah, helmet.
No, that was close.
Yeah, yeah. So he had a yellow. That was only the difference. So I remember the researchers at the time, they believe it. I don't know. This is a hypothesis, like
speculation a little bit.
Exactly, speculation that they were looking for his buddies, because he had and the lady saw, and especially that week, 3 animals died with the same cause, death, cause of death, like was a deer, and I don't know how to say in English another kind of animal, but the important is they used to eat different foods, and then they die with the same cows. Cows?
Cause.
Cause, yes, the same cause. So that was really was a mysterious for the biologists. Oh my god.
Biologists.
Biologists and the veterinarian, and then said this can have a connection with the creature that was there, and the lady saw, and she got very scared, and she told the husband, so please let's go to our house right now. And the guy said, why? She said, no, let's go right now. And then when they were driving back home, she told the guy, the husband, what she saw. And at the time, we also had a lot of UFO sightings there. That's why, for me, was very important, the doctor's testimony, because for me connects this testimony from the other people, and especially because the doctor's house, it is only 2 blocks from the where the Cherise did the capture, the second capture,
That's amazing. I mean, the thing in the zoo, I'm glad you brought that up. Because that's really interesting, and like it's kind of hard to fit it in without speculating a little bit. But like you say, if they were looking, if the doctors saw a UFO and it was potentially looking for something, then maybe it's not crazy to think that whatever these beings were, they would continue trying to find their friends, their buddies. Do you know if there were any other sightings or alleged sightings of beings or of craft or of UFOs in between January and April, that when she saw it in the zoo? Was there anything else in between those months?
No, there's a lot of more testimonies when you read the Ubirajara's book, because Ubirajara is very smart, intelligent person. He's a lawyer, and he was researching all the sightings which happened not only in Varginha but the cities around Varginha.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, we had so many sightings in area of Minas Gerais that time, and he had I know that in his book he has all documented testimony from the people from other cities around Varginha, and Varginha is speaking about these other sightings of the UFOs, you know, but nothing landing, like nothing like a UFO landing, nothing, just the sightings, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, amazing. So let's the footage.
Yeah.
Have you seen the footage? You haven't, right? So you've spoken to people that have seen it.
Yes.
Have they described it to you in detail? Would you be able to describe it to me in some detail?
Yeah, that's good. This is a new information because like in 1 week ago we were in Varginha. We stayed for 22 days, and for the first time we spoke with a doctor, very popular doctor in Varginha. And he said, you know, I'm gonna tell you guys now. And he told us that he watched the movie, the footage from his friend, but his friend doctor already passed away. He died in 2018. So that guy, he probably has the footage. His family has the footage. And this doctor told us on camera right now, probably in 1 or 2 weeks, we're gonna editing and putting for the public see this interview. So
awesome.
He said was very fast. He saw like maybe seconds or minutes of this footage, and his friend showed that the creature was laid down in like a bed and had some a blanket into, I think, the legs right here in the belly, beginning of the belly, and he could see the arms, the finger, like I don't remember if he said, I think it was like 3 fingers. I have to see on there, and then was very thin, you know, very thick, thin, yeah, was very thin, and has two. How do you guys say?
Like horns or lumps, or
Maybe lumps, yeah, like on the
protrusions.
Yeah, big red eyes, you know. But he said another thing was kind of interested because it's different the other testimonies. He said he could see the skin a little white. I don't know if he said if it was something that they they put it on, but you know, when we speak with the doctor, we feel that he knows much more, you know. But he just said, no, I'm gonna tell you guys because this has been 26 years. He said at the time was other time, we couldn't like speak, and I think he is only the only one doctor who's is saying about the footage and that he saw the footage, and he also say about the military activity on the hospital at the day because he was working on January 20th and that week, and he told us that he remembered that that day he was doing a surgery in a little kid, and he told me that he remembered that some reporter came and to interview him, say, oh, did you do the surgery on alien? Like he's like, what? But he told us that he didn't know already what's going on, and, you know, like, and then she said, no, we are here because there's some stories about the alien, and he got a little uh upset because the little he was thinking that the reporter was talking about the little kid and he did the surgery because the little kid had some deforms and his face, you know. And I said, oh, you need to have more respect to speak about this, not an alien. She said no, and then he saw the militaries at the week, and then he knew about of his friend doctor who did some procedure in the creature. For us, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that's the first time one doctor, very popular, like very smart, it is talking about it. And then he told us that the family of the of his friend doctor, they have this footage, but they are very afraid to release. And he was trying to talk with the family for us too, because I already knew about it. I went to speak with his wife, and his wife told me, no, we don't have that. We don't have this has never happened. But this doctor, which is told us, it is very friend of her, with her too, because they were all doctors, friends, dinners, parties together. But the doctor said, no, she knows, like it's right there. I don't know where it is, but we are not lying. But the lady said too, I am not lying. I don't have it. So we're trying to,
Somebody's lying.
yeah, somebody's lying. And then we offered like a bunch, like James Fox did a good amount, like he offered like a lot of money, and we told her, because actually they don't need money anymore because they are very good, but we said to them, oh, if you guys agreed to share with us, we're gonna, because this is really important for the world. And then that money we can offer is gonna be much better if we can offer for our kids, like a poor kids, some institution.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
and then you guys also help the world with this, help the story with the footage, and you guys can help the kids. And then they were, okay. So we are now trying to, we are very close. But
You
I don't
think?
know, we need to convince. It's hard because, man, because sometimes we don't, there's much story we needed to filter. How do I say filter? We don't choose anything.
Balance?
Yeah, we have to do the balance, because we know there's a lot of people is saying they lie, they want to be part of the story. So you need you to be careful with them, with this kind of people who wants to, oh, I know something, oh, I have this, or so we have to balance. But now we trust and we believe that we are close. But I don't know, like, so, because sometimes we get so excited, and then we got upset. Oh no, it was so close, and now they say this don't exist. And we are spending our time, our money to do all this investigation, to get our hands for in the evidence. But right now seems very hard. And another thing, which I think, I don't know if James already said, we found a chief of police who had a picture of the creature.
Of the creature, right.
And then he agreed to go on camera. And then I remember we called him so many times when James was in Varginha, and then he didn't answer from my phone. So another friend called from another phone, and he answered. Oh, we are here. We were trying to talk to you. I said, oh, okay. I'm sorry, but I'm not going on camera. I say, why? He says, because I care on my own security, he says. And James heard it because it was on the speaker, and I was like, oh my God. But then about the picture, like, can you share? And then he changed the conversation. So it is one guy, because I have two people who speak with me long time ago that I saw the picture. Because it is two people who doesn't know each other, and they claim that they saw the same picture showed by this officer. One was because this guy who told me the first time, his son he used to live in the same neighborhood of this chief of police, and they became very good friends. And then one time he showed the guy, the old guy, the picture. So the guy told me 2012 about this. But I said, interesting. And then, okay. And then the years came, like, and this was in 2012. And then in 2017, I met another lady. We were talking about other UFO sightings, and she lives in Minas Gerais too. And she told me, "Oh, I saw the picture," and she told me about it because she had a sighting, like a UFO was overing her and more other friends in a place, and the UFO I had some lights, and she felt on the ground, and she went to the hospital, and then but nothing happened like with her, and then the chief of police knew because the city was very small. He knew about the case, like the lady, né? And about the UFO, and he called her to go to the police station to speak about it. And he was asking many questions to her, and she was answered. And then she said, "Hey, doctor, I know you called me here. I don't know why you are interested about it, but why? I wanna why you wanna ask all these questions?" And he said, and then he was like, and he had a kind of newspaper in his table, and he got the newspaper was, they were telling about the Varginha case, back to the 1996, 97. He has these journals, these newspapers, and then he got a picture of the creature and showed her. "See, I was involved on this. That's what I am asking you, because I was very if affected by this story, but I just want to know what happened with you, and I was involved. That's what I am asking." So the lady saw. She said that she can see the boots of the militaries only, and the two creatures was, one was like do you know when you born and you are in that position when
in the fetal position?
Yes, in the field, exactly. One of that, and the other one was kind of deaf, laid down, and she saw that picture. And then, but she doesn't know the other guy who told me like 5, 6 years before her tell me. And when I realized it was the same chief of police, because I asked what is his chief name, and then she told me the name. I said, "Oh my God, it's the same one. I
Wow.
already heard about this picture and about this
Yeah.
police officer." So we went to his house. He told us the Varginha cases happened. That he went to speak with General Lima. Do you know General Lima is the guy who was standing on the documentary reading the reports, and the reporters were trying to ask him some question, and he said, "I was working for Brazil on the national."
At the press conference,
Yes, on the
yeah.
press conference, and he didn't want to answer the questions of the reporters. So it
Yeah.
was really weird. So this chief of police was the general's friend, because the chief of police, he used to work on Three Horts, Três Corações police station, and him and the Lima general, they had a deal, because the chief of police could arrest some militaries inside of the army on the base, which had some drugs, on the
Mhm.
lockers. They used to have a little drug, so the chief of police had this deal with General Lima. He could arrest these people there. And in that time, he told us that he went to the ESA base, and he saw helicopters like landing and go up, like strange activity. And when he went to the general's office, he saw like a table with a lot of militaries, like which came from Brasilia, which is our Distrito Federal here. And then like all he said to us, there's a lot of stars on the, on militaries. And then he asked, "Hey, I heard, hey, General, I heard something weird happening in Varginha, and you guys are involved." He said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, doctor, but I cannot tell you, because this is about national security. And national security? Yes, I'm so sorry, but right now we cannot speak about it. And then he said, okay. So the chief of police told us all this has happened, but when you speak with him about the picture, he said, no. And then one time he said, oh, I remember that, but I don't know where it is. He changed the conversation. And then this last time we went again to his house and we did a video call with James, with the chief of police. And but he was saying, oh, and he's changed it. So when you are very close to the evidence, and then just gone, it's like crazy.
Yeah, that must be so frustrating. Wow. Yeah. So look, I want to get this finished fairly quickly because I know you haven't got too much longer. So I think from now, let's try and do quickfire.
Okay.
Let's do some quickfire questions. So you just kind of answer me as quick as you can,
Okay.
and we'll fly through some questions. So just to follow up on the footage.
Okay.
So there's at least one video, one photo, and probably more, right? Probably more copies and various different versions. How confident are you that we will actually get it out there, make it public? How, like, if you could put a percentage on it, I know it's not exact and everything, but in your gut feeling, how confident are you? 50%, 60%, 70%, 20%? Like, where are you?
Oh man, I think I say 50%.
50%?
Maybe 60. Because when we spoke with the lady on the family who had it, they say, no, we don't have it. So we need to try to find another way. As you said, we know more evidences, some from military area and some of civil. So we are trying to get the civil one. And also Military X was trying to get more information for us about the footage.
Wow. Yeah, that would be great. Well, yeah, I mean, I know you will, and I know James will, but please keep trying. And obviously, that would be incredible if any of that comes out and we get to see that. So I've mentioned, actually, you know this, of course, because Ronnie helped me get in touch with you. So I spoke previously to Ronnie Vernet, and I spoke to him about Varginha and about his thoughts on this, and he mentioned that he has a kind of a bit of speculation that he finds it strange that there's a lot less witnesses to the craft and a lot more witnesses to the beings. So he kind of thinks maybe the beings came from the water. What do you think about that?
Yes, I like, thanks. Rony Vernet is very good friend. He's really great researcher here in Brazil, doing very good work. And he's right. Actually, we don't have too much witness from the crash side, but we believe these creatures, they appears on the neighborhood in Varginha, because if you see the crash site and the place where the creatures was captured, you have a river, a green river, we call Green River, which goes, like, if you keep going, you're gonna be around the area where the creatures were taken. So we believe, of course, it's a speculation, but the UFO was falling down and the creatures, maybe, I don't know how, they jumped it, or I don't know, water, and then the water, and we believe actually that these creatures could be, amphibians, probably they use water, I don't know, because we were talking with some professors, like university, who did the genetic, and they said, oh, this is look like amphibian, because of the smell, had a very bad smell, like ammonia.
And
And that's we believe, but it's only a speculation, right? And that's what I believe Rony, because Rony is right. There's a river that connects the crash site. It's far away, but if you look into the Google, you can see on the Google Maps, you can see the river, and then goes to you can go to the neighborhood that the creatures was captured.
Yeah, yeah. But you think your personal opinion is that they came from the craft?
Yes, I think they came from the river before the
Yeah.
craft.
Oh, you think they came from the river?
Yeah, I think they.
You think they came from the craft into the river
Yes.
and then out of the river but originally from the craft? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, got you. I was going to ask you this earlier, but I didn't. When we were talking about Carlos de Souza and the crash, I asked James the same question. I'm just interested. Did you feel any kind of energy, or did you get any feeling, aside from the words and emotions from Carlos, just from the area itself when you were standing there? Did you have any sensation or any feeling?
To be honest with you, no. Just when Carlos started crying, and then I feel it like very, oh my God, this is happening.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
we didn't have any other feelings. But James got when you see, I think he told you about it. When you see the drone shot, you can see
Yeah.
an area like the colors of the grass is different. So for James, it look like some chemical things changed or something,
Yeah.
Because when Carlos told the researchers, he told 10 months later because he was afraid, because they printed. So in October of 1996, he called Club del Corvo. He said what happened. And Corvo said, can you take us to there? Yes. And then when the researchers went there, they had it, I think, around 20 to 25 researchers, and they were looking into the field to see if they could find it. They have a metal detector, and they could find. Do you know when you have? I don't know. It's a footprint, but at the biggest trucks. When you have something like you have the earth like wasn't right. It looked like somebody went there and like did something on the field.
Right.
That's what the researchers found 10 months later of it. But when we were with Carlos, was all normal.
Yeah, absolutely. I read somewhere else that some local children in Varginha threw stones at one of the beings, like just to bully basically this being. They say, oh, there's something strange. You know what kids can be like. I mean, obviously it's horrible. It kind of it sends chills down my spine to think if this was a being from another planet or from somewhere else, and us humans are throwing stones at it within a couple of hours. Anyway, I heard that, so I wonder if you've heard that, if you can confirm that, or say whether you're aware of the same thing. And to add on to that, do you think there's any chance those children would come forward as adults and witness that?
Yes, Ben, we tried so many times to find these kids right there, but we didn't find them. Yes, this is true. When they saw the creature on January 20th, was in the morning, a little before when the firemen came. So they got the rocks and throw them, but the creature was far away, and then they were afraid to the creature comes more near, so they got the rocks and started to throwing, but we never found these kids. We just found another guy who saw the creature, but he's very afraid to speak. He never spoke, and he's kind of he doesn't have too much money. And then I remember some people before tried to offer his a money to do the interview, but he said no. And his sister and his mom told us now he saw, but he's very uh, he doesn't like to talk about it. He's never gonna talk about it. When I spoke with him, he told me only that he saw the militaries with a net take something from the grass, but he never saw. He never told me that he saw the creature. But the mom and the sister told us that he saw the creature because they live still today, into today, they live in the same house. It's right there, like you have this small forest, and then he's lived right there. So he saw also the creature. I thought also that
Wow.
he was one of the kid who throw the rock, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I don't think he just saw the
Yeah.
creature very close, and then he got a
Mhm.
his what you call he got shocked by. That's what the
Yeah.
mom and sister said. You know.
Yeah, that's understandable. I bet there's a lot of people that are kind of in shock about this. If I can kind of put you on the spot, no pressure, but if you could think of maybe one or two quick details, again, just as quick as you can, that didn't make it into the documentary that you think are interesting for people to be aware of. Is there anything that jumps into your mind?
Yes, I think that I think it's really important the other testimony of the military who didn't
Mm-hmm.
come forward yet. He he recorded his testimony in 1996, but he's very afraid to come out this testimony, and we tried so bad like to have his on this, because I think his was really important because he saw the whole body of, not the whole body, yeah, kind of he saw the face, the head, the
Yeah.
eyes. And he also said when some doctor in the hospitals came with something like a instrumental, they got the thong of the creature, probably he thought was very thin, like black, and he pulled out, and they could see like a fall, look like a, do you know snake, when you have the snake and have,
Fork.
yeah, folk, yeah.
Yeah.
They say this military said that he saw that when the doctor came and like pull out this little, was very small and thin and black, but in the end had this kind of like snake
Fork.
fork.
Yeah.
Yes.
Forked tongue. Yeah.
Yes, and then that I think was really interesting that I would love to have on the documentary. But
Yeah.
there's much more things. Like unfortunately, we didn't have too much time to put in more detail of some interviews. Like the
Yeah.
X-rays guy, we have so much more information about it, you know. And military X too, he said more things, you know, and the other military also say things, but unfortunately we had to cut because the time of the, you know.
Yeah.
And there's more other interviews. When you see the end, you have another military which is walking with me, and James, he confirmed about the Campinas here, the other base and the hospital where they took these creatures to be oh my god,
Analyzed.
analyze it. Yes, sorry. Analyze it.
It's okay. It's okay. We've been going for a long time now. You must be getting tired. No, it's absolutely fine. So, aside from Varginha, I wonder what other cases do you think are compelling of something extraordinary?
Other case here, I love it.
Doesn't have to be there. It can be anywhere in the world. Any other cases that you
Okay.
think, yeah,
I
stand out to you?
I like a lot the case which happened in the north of Brazil, which is in Colares and Pará state.
Mm-hmm.
We call Chupa phenomenon, and this is because of these things what happened there. Like a lot of people in a small town saw this UFO hovering, and
Mm-hmm.
they were sent like lights to attack people. We don't know if they took bloods. You know, there's a lot of more things to go into this case, but is one of the best. We call phenomenon, Chupa phenomenon. And then we had a mission by the Brazilian Air Force, which called Operação Prato. No,
Mm.
a plate operation, we call in English. No,
Yeah.
and the other one, which was very compelling one, was in May 19th of 1986, when you have 21 UFO detected by the radar, and our pilots from Air Force went to chasing, like to see what was it, and these lights, these UFOs, they they run like they did a very strange movement, and they run like 15 hours per hour. Was very fast, like unbelievable for them, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this really compelling ones because we had a press conference with the pilots, Air Force pilots, speaking about uh, this case, you know.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, maybe if we talk again in future, we can go into a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
So this is a big question. You can give me a very quick answer if you want. But yeah, it's again, we kind of enter into speculation territory a little bit, but that's okay. So what do you think the UFO phenomenon represents? You know, is it extraterrestrial in terms of, is it just another civilization from a different planet in our galaxy coming here in their physical craft? Is it some other kind of non-human intelligence, like interdimensional? You know, could it be future humans? I've spoken to Dr. Michael Masters about the future human hypothesis, or is it something else? You know, there's so many. It could be anything. It could be all of those things. But is there one that stands out to you, or multiple that stand out to you? What are your thoughts?
Yes, it's a hard question, but but for me, I believe that they are they are oldest. They are oldest than us, very old. There's some kind, can be in another dimension, or if they come from another part of the universe. But I believe they are very, of course, they are out from here, but they are kind of, how do I say, like, I believe they are very, of course, smart intelligence, and I hope they can help us with something. That's what I might hope, you know. Can be like a religious thought, but I believe, I want to believe that they are here to help us, and they are from probably another dimension, and probably they come from another parts of the universe that we don't know, and I believe they are only oldest, and we are just not understand them what they really wanted with our civilization, and I believe also they are searching our planet, our minerals, and everything like that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So you think possibly not interplanetary? You think it's maybe something a little bit more bizarre, like the interdimensional kind of thing.
Yes, I like a lot also the Jacques Vallée theories. You know, as I like a lot that one. I believe, but I believe more could be a dimensional from here to in a place that we don't know. You know. Others, of course, can be from another part of the universe, and they take a black hole, and they have all this technology to do, you know.
Yeah, again, we could speculate about it for ages. Like we could talk about different things that it could be, or probably isn't, or it might be. But yeah, thank you for sharing your thoughts on it.
And so I believe that there's some bad civilization that doesn't want our, you know, like they doesn't want to be nice with us. Also, I believe that too. I think there's both, like here, like we have the bad and the good.
And you think the good and the bad, you think we've got some of both visiting us here?
Yes, I believe that.
Because I mean, I hope there's more of the good than the bad. Let's just say that. So do you think, in terms of the Brazilian government, right? So I don't know how much you think that they are aware of, how much information they have. Let's assume that they know a lot more than us, possibly less than the American government. I don't know. That's just a guess. But how much do you think they know? And do you think they will ever release the truth, or will they wait for America to lead the way and to do what they're going to do first?
Nice. Yes, I believe they are waiting for U.S. government to release more. But of course, I believe they know much more than we know here. Especially on, there's a lot of cases in Brazil which they was involved, the institutions like Army, Navy, and Air Force. And we had an interview with the brigadier José Carlos Pereira, which was the highest position here on the Air Force, and he spoke about the UFOs are real, and we had a project here in 2004 to for the population, the people of Brazil. We signed it like a letter, and we sent the UFO magazine with the CBU, which is a UFO organization, sent to the government to they release the official documents, of the UFOs. So we have already more than 11,000 pages, most of it from Air Force, telling us about this, some cases that happen, like when pilots saw a UFO. So you can get these documents and read. It's all mystery, they all call UFO. So we know they have much more information, especially on the Varginha case. And unfortunately, we don't have any documents from the Varginha case. They always say, no, we don't have anything. We just had one document from the Air Force from 1971 in a case which happened in Varginha when a lot of people saw a UFO ovary, and and the Air Force went there to investigate this case, which happens in March 3rd of 1971. The only one that we have. So I believe they have much more to release. We are trying to get with them to they keep releasing more documents, informations about it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they do, but it's interesting that they don't have any. Yeah, they allegedly don't have any documents on Varginha. It's like reminds me of Roswell, of course, in America, where like they can't find any of that. But yeah, we can just hope for the best, right? There seems to be progress happening in the US, so hopefully that's going to bleed into Brazil and other countries as well. What do you think about this is something that Ronnie, again, spoke to me about, and I hadn't really given it much thought beforehand, but he shared a couple of stories. What do you think about the Chupacabra?
Oh my God, it is one of my favorite cases on the topic, because in 1996, when Varginha happened, a lot of other cases happened at the time in Brazil. Like we have a bunch of cases, and one of that was very strong was the Chupacabra. And I have a good friend, like he's incredible investigator, and he did a documentary about the Chupacabras, 1 hour and a half of it. And I would love to translate it in English to show the people, because he was there in 1997. Because we have this huge case in 1997, a lot of attacks from the Chupacabras in a lot of states of Brazil. So, like, for example, here was happening some attacks, weird, and in another state very far away in the same time was happening too, So it is one of my favorite cases, because I watched the documentary and I went through to investigate a little bit. And I think unfortunately, is not a good thing, because they kill it like a lot of animals, but the mystery and all the cause and the things that are happening all the area, it is really interesting, and I love it, and I believe so bad, and I believe the Chupacabras has a connection with lights, UFOs, because in this documentary, when Carlos Alberto Machado, he was researching and shooting this documentary, he was right there when in some ranches, which happens some attacks, and one night he was doing a sky watch, with the family, because the family, no, you need to stay here because we are seeing strange lights at night, and in the morning has these attacks. And I said, okay. So he had a tripod and camera, and he shot it like a very nice like video from 1997. You can see this big light like was doing this, and then was walking a little bit, was moving a little bit, floating like, and then disappeared. So the next day, in the morning, in the same place where the UFO was hovering, they had an attack on the ranch. Like I think it was
Oh, really?
30 chickens and some ducks too, and other around was like a sheep, sheep,
Uh-huh.
a lot of kinds of animals. So I believe so much, and then this has happened a lot, and then in 1998, 9 was disappearing and gone, forever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I like a
It's
lot.
really, yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah. So you absolutely believe it's a real thing, a real, whether we call it an animal or a phenomenon, I don't know what to say, but you think it's whatever it is real.
Yes, and also we did a show for a series for a History Channel, and one episode we shoot with the veterinarian who was able to analyze this animals which was attacked, and they said, I never saw in my entire life anything like that, because they say when they found some animals, they were already deaf like for 2 to 3 days or 4 days, and they didn't smell any bad thing. It was like
Mm.
right there, no smell, nothing. And they attacked and was very smart. And the other thing which was really interesting, in some ranch, when I have the attack, they used to have a very mad dogs, mad dogs.
Right.
So even the dogs didn't do
Mm.
any noise, and how this could be, like if the animal, like the dogs right here, everything's fine,
Yeah.
but the animals is deaf.
Yeah, yeah, that's so weird, like you say.
Yeah.
And when they attack their animals, sorry, not to stay on the chupacabra for too long, but
Yeah.
when they have they recover these animals that seem like they've been attacked by a chupacabra or whatever. Is there blood at the scene, or
No.
because I'm trying to think of like in my head, I'm comparing it to cattle mutilations that you
Yeah.
get kind of across the world.
Yeah. No. They suck it all the blood. But
Mm.
I actually,
Yeah.
when the scientists and the biologists, when they saw, like when they were doing when they were analyzing the animals, they found like a blood, but it was a red blood. This is other kind from the blood, which is white, was right there, but the red was they took all of it. In
Mm.
some cases they also took the heart, and that guy said to me that his little sheep was pregnant, I think, and then they took also the baby. Like they did, it's incredible. Like you say, what the hell is that? Like how they couldn't do this? They knew, and took also the baby, and they killed the mother. It's horrible
Yeah.
things, but really interested.
Yeah, scary stuff, isn't
Very scary.
it?
I remember.
I hope I would never meet a chupacabra. Go, what were you going to say? You remember?
No, I remember when I was, because was in 1997. I had 12 years old, and everybody in the
Uh,
streets, hey, be careful, chupacabra, and everybody in Brazil was like, oh my God, I cannot stay too late in the street. I have to go home because
uh,
chupacabra is gonna appear. Crazy.
Oh shit, man! Yeah, that would be a good way to keep the kids in early.
Yeah.
Because holy shit, I would not be I would not be walking around if people are saying, "Yeah, you got to be careful of the chupacabra." Wow, I'm going home now. Yeah. So you talked at the start of our conversation about the triangle UFO that you saw when you were about 14. Apart from that, have you ever seen any other UFOs? Have you seen anything since?
Oh man, no. I have some sighting, very small sightings in some places that we were investigating UFO cases. And I think the last one was kind of 2008. But I
Mm-hmm.
was there in this ranch, which happens a really weird attack in some dogs. And
Yeah.
we were there speaking with the witness, and then they invited us to stay at night there. So we did a sky watch, and then we saw like a very strange object, but it was very far away. Also, very we couldn't even see as well, like very very good, like we couldn't see,
Mm-hmm.
but was like a weird. But it was the last time, and I never saw anything like I saw when I had a 14 years old.
Yeah.
That's it.
So that was the most extraordinary thing you saw.
And we did a lot of
Yeah.
sky watches between these whole years and nothing like no,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
only one.
Maybe you're going to have multiple sightings in the next couple of weeks now or
Yeah,
something. Like you can wait years and get nothing, and then maybe you're going to get a bit of good luck
yeah.
soon. I hope so. But at least you've seen some things, right? At least you've had some sightings.
Yeah.
Um, have you had any other or any other anomalous experiences during your life? So whether it's anything from an ND, a near-death experience, or an out-of-body experience, or some kind of psychic experience, like maybe a dream where you see something from the future, or
Yeah.
you get some information that somebody is thinking but they haven't told you, or anything along those lines. Any anomalous experiences?
That's nice. I am gonna tell you one, two actually that I had. This one I never told anybody like on public, but this was weird because I had this friend, my friend. She in long time I wasn't speaking with her, and and I remember I was doing my college and doing my work on the computer. No, sorry, yeah, before. I remember that day I was asleep at night. I slept with a sighting, like a UFO came and stopped it, and I could see perfectly the UFO. Like it was a beautiful field, and I saw this UFO. He stopped it and he gone, and I was like, oh my god! And then this is on dream. And then in the same
Mm-hmm.
dream after the sighting, I saw this my friend. She's Carol. Carol. A long time I didn't see Carol anymore. I spoke with her. I think probably 2 years before, 3 years before, and then I remember that I saw her in black and white, like place, and I saw her, and I remember that she was pregnant. I was, what? And then I awakened and I said, "Oh my God, Carol! I dreamed with Carol. I need to call her to see if she's okay." I was like, "Okay." So I went to work, and then when I came back from work to do my college works, and I forgot about it, her. And then I received a message right here in the computer from her, from a messenger,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, say, "Hey, Marco." Say, "Oh my God, I just dreamed last night with her, and she's sent me a message right here." And then she said, "Oh, Carol, long time." And hey, look what I just took it here in my house. And she sent me, I can send you the picture she took it of, like she was taking a picture of the rainbow, was beautiful rainbow. And then you can see one of the pictures, only one, I think you can see three weird things. I am not very good in analyzing the pictures, so I sent these pictures to my good friends who they have a lot of knowledge, and like everything that you send to them, they say, "Oh, this is not a UFO." They have an explanation for it.
Yeah.
But this time he said, "Oh, this is weird. I don't know what it is. I don't know." I said, can I call UFO because we don't know what it is?" He said, "Yes." So I never told nobody this, but I dreamed with her, and then
Wow.
like before with UFO and her, and then the next day, like she sent me a message with these pictures, and I was like,
Yeah.
unbelievable, you know, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
That's
In
amazing.
another thing that I saw with my eyes that I couldn't believe, it is more spiritual thing that do you
Uh-huh.
know? I don't know if the word is right. Materialism. When you are here, and I saw something appears.
Oh, materialization.
Materialization. Exactly. I couldn't believe
Nice. Yeah.
because has this restaurant and actually was my family's restaurant, and I remember some lady called like my mom, the lady which worked on the restaurant, and she said really in the morning said, "Hey, I don't know what happened from the ground. It's materializing something. Do you know how do I say? It's a small things that sometimes when you have a food is old food, this appears a little things like I don't know how to say in English." So she said was materializing by the ground. I was like, what the hell? What? No, come on. And I remember I drove there, and then I lay down on the ground and I saw with my eyes, dude. I saw was like was like like not like the noise, but it looked like, and then
Yeah.
got the ground. So lots of it. Let me see if I can find the name of this.
And it's just appearing out of nowhere.
Yeah, from nowhere, from the air, like on the ground, like there. I couldn't believe that. And then,
So it's not even coming out of the ground. It's just
yeah,
poofing it from
yes,
nothing.
from looks like the ground, but it was
Wow.
from the ground. It was a little bit like the ground is here, was right here.
Yeah. Is it mold that is the word that you're looking for?
Yeah, let me
Mold.
see here. Larvae,
Larvae,
larvae.
like when insects, reproducing, like their babies go into like larvae before they grow out of the larvae.
Yeah, but do you know these larvae? This is they stayed when is the some food it's old, and then you have these
Mm-hmm.
little things right there, and oh,
Yeah, like maggots, like little maggots and
exactly.
things like that. Yeah,
Saying disgusting,
yeah,
no, you know. So I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
these little things like was like a lots of it, and then we kill it and doing, you know, and then like all the ground I couldn't believe. So my mom, I remember she called a really people from the church who do a pray, and then they came to the place, and then I remember they because was I remember was in the morning, but we were afraid to the clients come and see all these nasty things right there, you know. Oh
Yeah,
my God, we cannot
yeah.
open the restaurant today. So I remember my mom called this people, and they went there. They seated on the tables there, stay quiet, and they started to pray. I don't believe too much, but dude, it's incredible. Like after I think 1 hour or 2 hours and a half, these little things was disappearing, stopped it to materializing, and then gone. And then after
Wow.
when we closed the door, the guys there, the religious, they said, "Oh, this is very bad because we felt here somebody was doing something like magic, bruxa. How do I say black magic?
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah,
how do I say? Let me see here.
yeah, yeah. Black magic works.
Black Magic's good for you guys don't open the restaurant today. Is people who's in jealous, you guys, you know, like I was like, oh my God, that's weird, but I didn't believe that. So I saw with my eyes, and I now I believe all this kind of spiritual things, you know. was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
two that I can remember right now that happened. Oh, like, oh my God.
Yeah, wow, man, that's so weird. I mean, the second one is like, yeah, super weird. The first one is incredible. Like
Yeah.
that experience of like you dreaming of your friend and the UFOs and stuff. That's really like it's like a really intense synchronicity.
Yes, and then
Wow.
I'm gonna send
Um,
you the pictures. I'm gonna find here somewhere in my
awesome.
hard drive, and I will
Yeah,
send you to take a look.
awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And yeah, so I guess that leads me on to another question because you were just mentioning like religion and stuff,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm not religious, but I do think that there has been some study into the effects of prayer, and prayer actually might be something that works. I don't know how or why or in what way, but it's interesting nonetheless. But what do you think, if you're comfortable to talk about it now, what do you think happens after we die? Again, I know it's something we could talk about for days, but just in a very quick answer, what do you think
Okay.
happens?
I believe that our life we keep living without our
Mm-hmm.
body, like a
Yeah.
spiritual, and I believe that we're going to meet again, to see again our members of family, like my dad, because my dad passed away when I was with James. Was this broke my heart so badly, and it's still
Yeah.
into today because I was in the United States when it happened. He had a heart attack. So I hope and I believe so much that
Sorry, man.
I'm gonna meet him again, find him and my grandma, everybody, and I think the life continues, you know. It's
Yeah.
a mystery, but
Yeah.
I feel inside of me that the life continues.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
Cool.
only
Well,
an
I'm glad you feel like
experience.
that.
This is only an experience
Sorry.
that here I believe it is only a small experience that we have
Mm-hmm.
for our spirit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I think there's going to be more after, and I think you will see those people again.
Yeah.
And yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Last question I'll ask you, Marco, is what are you focusing on now? Now that the documentary's done and everything, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on trying to get that footage, or do you have other things that you're interested in this area that you're moving on to?
Mhm. Yes, I'm keep doing the research about the footage for sure, and I'm really wanna go there, and I wanna love to have my hands. But I have another project like audio visual, like some probably documentary about the other cases in Brazil,
Mm.
because the way that I love to do these researchers, it's I don't know, it's come from inside. So I would love to show people more cases who people doesn't
Yeah.
know. There's many cases in Brazil that I would love to do these projects. And probably it's gonna start it on July, but right now I
Mm-hmm.
am focused only on the footage and the Varginha, still in Varginha, you know.
Yeah, cool. Well, obviously, I wish you the best with getting the footage because we all need to see that. We're all desperate to see that. I hope it works. I hope you get it, and I wish you all the best with your other project. That sounds great, and it would be brilliant to see more of these cases covered in documentaries or videos or whatever you're planning to do exactly. But I wish you all the very best. Last thing before I let you go, do you have any words or a message you'd like to leave with people that have watched or listened today?
Oh, I just wanna thank you and take your audience to listen me. Sorry about my English, first of all, because it was very
It's been good, man.
bad. No, and then I just wanna thank you and say to people who doesn't watch it, the moment of contact. You guys, please go and watch it because it was a work and a job that I did for my whole like took many years of my life. Since I was little kid,
Yeah.
I grew up with this story. So I had a dream to do that with James Fox, who wasn't interested. He became like a brother. But I was very happy to do this, and I hope everybody can have a chance to watch this documentary and say to the people everything was real, nothing was like how nothing was fake, it was all real, everything happened. Of course we believe at the witness, and we want to go find more information about this case. So then people watch, and then you guys can take your your thinking about it.
Yeah, and make their own make their own. Well, I don't even know how to word it myself. Come up with their own conclusions or speculations and see what they think. But I mean, I second that. It's such a compelling documentary. If anybody hasn't seen it, I'll put the link in the description. So just scroll down and access it via there. As we said earlier, if people get it from Vimeo or Apple, you get the extra footage and the extra interviews and stuff like that we discussed earlier. Brilliant. Look, Marco, thank you so much for this today. I really appreciate you giving me your time. We've taken a little bit more of it than we initially planned, but really appreciate you doing it. I've enjoyed it a lot. Your English impressed me, and I look forward to doing it again at some point in the future.
Thanks so much, Ben. Thank you for you and all your audience. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you to Marco Leal for talking with me, and thank you for listening. I hope you learned something new and enjoyed the discussion. Please see the description for all relevant links and more. If you enjoy our content, please subscribe to continue unraveling the universe with us. And if you'd like to help us keep making content, please consider contributing whatever you can spare via Patreon. Thank you.